Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of
Scary Station. The station! Oh, before that, check out the merch, dude.
Yeah,
Check
some
out the
shameless plugs over here. Got some hoodies, got the hat. Go ahead and everything's going to be linked down below too to check it out. There's actually a lot of different options.
Yeah.
So there's like a little bit of something for everyone, honestly.
And these are actual champion. They're real champion, bro.
I didn't get the champion one.
The real champion. That's the season 1, the original. Season 2, and I'm working on season 3. That's gonna be dropping December, sometime in this 1st of December. But yeah, go support us, man. Support the channel. Even if you can't buy them, like just subscribe or tell your buddies. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, we have 2 pit bulls just running around loose like hippos.
Yeah, but definitely check us out. Follow. I have our Instagram, the Scary Station, linked down below, and then also there is the Scary TV station as well.
And this mug.
So honestly, you can get basically like a whole Christmas present.
Oh, that's
with everything.
Right. Christmas
like,
is coming.
It's perfect for Christmas. If you have any true crime, fans or even conspiracy theories, that's mainly what Scary TV is. So that's why it's like, yeah, just like check it out, gift it to a friend at least. But yeah, so go check it out. Like I said, link is going to be in the description. And also I have it linked on our Instagram as well. So if you follow us there, then it'll be a direct link in the bio for that too. I know it's been a while, but today's case is actually going to be local to us. If y'all didn't know, we are actually from Austin, Texas. That is where
ATX, dude.
Yep, that's where we film and everything like that.
That's where the real stay.
Yes. Actually, researching it, I feel like this case has somewhat gotten forgotten, actually. Not a lot of people know, or now it's just kind of like a tale that parents will tell their kids, or, something like that.
Not even, like, I don't think people know.
Yeah, it's kind of gotten a little bit more forgotten, and this is the Austin Yogurt Shop murders. It happened in 91, and to this day, it is still unsolved. It's a open case, so I mean, whoever is watching this, if you have information you think, or whatever the case may be, definitely help out because it is open, but
I think I solved it.
You think you solved it?
I'm
Okay.
100% sure I solved it.
Okay. There are a couple other theories too, with like at least 2 unknown suspects that no one knows who they are.
Right.
So I guess we'll just go a little bit into it.
Just do it.
So
1991. I was 1 year old.
Oh my god. I was not even a twinkle in my dad's eye. My brother was 1, but no.
Oh wow.
I wasn't even born yet.
You were still swimming.
I was still swimming in his balls.
I didn't want to say that, but.
Now we are going to be in December 6, 1991. 15-year-old Sarah Harbison. If I'm pronouncing the last name wrong, I'm sorry. We have 15-year-old Sarah and 13-year-old Amy. They were friends and also schoolmates, and they were just hanging out at one of the local malls up here in Austin, the North Cross Mall. They were just hanging out because Sarah's older sister Jennifer, she and her friend / coworker Eliza, they worked at the I can't believe it's yogurt shop. That was only a couple blocks down. So the girls were just hanging out at the mall until they were able to get a ride home with her sister and all that stuff. So they were just basically killing time, waiting for them to close because the girls were all gonna have a sleepover basically. So that's why they just waited till they were off so they could just all go home together. The yogurt shop actually closes at 11 p.m.
What the fuck?
It's important. I know, that's really late for a yogurt shop,
Yeah,
first of all.
This is
11.
The 90s, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Who the fuck's getting yogurt until 11?
Yeah.
At around 10 o'clock, one place I read that the girls walked over because it was just a couple blocks, and another place I read that Jennifer took a small break from work to go pick up the girls from the mall. I don't know, but around 10 o'clock, the girls made it to the yogurt shop.
They were all there.
So they were all there. They were gonna kind of help clean up a little bit because even though they were off at 11, if they finish all the cleaning and stuff like that early, they can leave earlier. Just around midnight, so a little bit before or a little bit after, there was an officer. His name was Troy Gray. He was on patrol, and that's when he saw just all this smoke coming out from this place, and like he didn't think anything of it. You know, he's not thinking there's a murder there. He's just like, oh shit, there's a fire. Let me call the fire department. So the fire department, this now looking back, a lot of like the officers and stuff looking, you know, they're like, we wish we did things different if they knew.
Right.
Because there was a fire, and so obviously the fire department, they're just doing their job. They're taking out the fire, and that ended up like also getting rid of a lot of evidence at the same time.
I heard about that.
So that's why it's like double-edged sword. They did their job, but at the same time, like if they knew, things probably would have been a little bit different.
I think they did their job.
Yeah, no. They did do their job.
No. I think they did exactly by destroying the evidence.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Obviously to, you know, put the fire out and all that stuff. So when they walked in, that's when they saw the girls. All 4 of them were dead. All of them were naked, bound, and gagged with their own clothes. And Jennifer, Sarah, and Eliza, they were all together, like, in the back room. 2 of them were kind of, like, laid on top of each other, and the other one was just, like, right next to them. And Amy, she was the youngest one out of the group. And she was still in the back room, but kind of, like, towards, like, the middle of the room almost, as if she was, like, trying to get out. Because that's what they, later on in the investigation, that's what they were thinking. Like, maybe she was, like, trying to, like, crawl to the back door or something. So she was, like, away from the group, but still, like, in the back room at least. Girls, unfortunately, they were all, except for Amy, she was still burned, but not as much. But they were all basically burned beyond recognition.
So they weren't, like, stacked up? I read that they were stacked up.
2 of them were stacked up.
2 of them were stacked up.
Yeah, so 2 of them were, like, this, basically. Like, their legs were on top of each other. One of them was, like, on the side. And then Amy was, like, away from them. So only 2 of them were stacked up a little bit. So the girls, they were all found with their legs opened, like spread open. And then, again, some reports said all of them. One I read said that it was only confirmed with Amy. So, but apparently at least 2 of them, or at least one of them, were sexually assaulted, and they found one of the ice cream scoopers, or like a scooper, in between the legs. And then also they found some like the flammable items like around them, like, you know, napkins, anything like papers and all that other stuff. This does become important later on, but the police, so, you know, they were like, how did this fire start? Because if it's a restaurant, it'd be like, oh, they accidentally left the stove on, but this is a yogurt shop, there's no stoves. So they're like, how did this happen? So the officers and like everyone there at the crime scene, none of them smelled lighter fluid at all. So they didn't swab the girls for it at all, even though that's like just standard protocol to do that. But they're like, we don't smell anything, so we're not going to. Which
is kind of fishy, right? Unless you're trying to cover something.
Which is very fishy. And honestly, another thing too that I'm going to mention in a little bit, but a lot, you know, like on Reddit, a lot of articles, videos, and podcasts, basically that was, a lot of them were like, Austin really dropped the ball on this. Like Austin PD, because, you know, during the crime scene, they weren't wearing booties. Like, or like gloves or anything like that. They didn't swab the girls. Figured out that the back door was unlocked. They didn't like swab for any fingerprints or anything like that either. Or didn't even preserve the lock. They just kind of were just like, oh, it's open, okay, type thing.
Which is weird, right?
It is.
Because I've worked at many restaurants, and the back door unlocked, that's unheard of, dude. That's unheard of. Like, the doors are always locked. The only ones that are unlocked is like the front ones to the customers.
Because that's the thing. When they came in, the front doors were locked from the inside. So basically, like, no customers could go in, but obviously the girls can, like, leave, you know, to fully lock the shop. But a little bit also as well, back into, like, how they found the girls. After the autopsy, the Travis County actually sealed it. So there's still quite a few things that we really don't know, which is uncommon. But the one thing, you know, that we did find out was like about the sexual assault and all that stuff. But also the girls were all shot execution style, like in the back of their head with the .22. But Amy, again, another difference with her, she was shot twice in the head. One of them was with the .22, the other one was with a 380
ACP.
380. So obviously,
which is pretty loud.
2 different guns. So then 2 different people. You know, that's kind of like the conclusion that they came to with that. But again, you know, the APD, they just did not really do well at all with it. And also with the public, they kept a lot of things private, you know, so if they could catch the killer, they know detail. Obviously, they did it type thing.
Right.
But, do you know, the funny thing is, so they ended up getting, you know, information slowly got leaked. And do you know how it got leaked?
I do not know.
So, one of the people that worked, I think it was like in the forensic division. I don't know. I can't remember. But one of the girls that worked at the department on this case, she would go and tell her hairdresser about it.
What?
And the hairdresser would go and be like, so this is what I found out. Yeah.
Girls, if you're working on a case and it's like high profile case, just shut the fuck up, dude. Don't tell your hairdresser. Dude, are you serious?
Yes. That's how at least some of the details got leaked, you know. Not everything, but
it's enough. Right?
it's enough. Yeah. Oh no, it was enough because then they got over 300 different tips.
She was trying to get that discount perm.
At least moving on to some of the suspects, I'll just kind of like, there is a lot that goes along with it. Like, their story is pretty crazy. I did slim it down a little bit just because there are a couple theories about this case that I kind of have, even though it's like a pretty popular one, but also Alejandro has his own, so I'm not going to like go too detailed or anything like that. And honestly, this case is a huge rabbit hole. Like, I could have easily spent like 10 hours on it if I really wanted to. So
nobody knows anything.
But the first suspect happened within a week. He was 16. His name was Maurice Pierce. According to a couple different eyewitnesses, he was spotted at that same mall the same night with a gun. So, you know, police brought him in. Turned out to be a 22, which was the exact same gun that they used, you know, during the
Well, it was
killings.
the exact same caliber, right? The exact same gun. I mean, they don't know what gun it was.
No, so they saw that it was a 22. So they were like, oh shit, okay, like, if he was there at the same mall, same time with these girls, this is the murder weapon, basically.
Right.
So they brought him in and they asked him questions, and he was like, no, it wasn't me, but my friend borrowed my gun and did it.
Oh, he said that.
He said it was his friend, Forrest, who was also 16. So when they brought him in, he was like, no, it wasn't me at all. Like, me and Maurice were hanging out with our two buddies, and we stole a car and went to San Antonio, basically.
That's right.
So that was the story. So then they also ended up testing the gun, both 22s, but not the same gun, though.
And for people wondering, oh, well, they found the same caliber, but that was him. This is Texas, dude. Everybody has guns. My first gun was a 22. I personally have two 22s, you know. Dude, they're everywhere here.
They tested it anyway, it wasn't them, so they just kind of like scratched them off. They're like, whatever, okay, wasn't them. They just had a lot of, you know, tips. They had 3 main suspects, which were those 2 boys, and then there was 2, there was no names to them, but how do you, I guess, like, Mexicans? Like, they're from Mexico, so that's why I'm like, Mexican origin, I guess?
I mean,
I don't know.
I think you're Mexican wherever you're born.
I know,
You
no,
could be
but
born in the moon and you're
no,
still
but they
Mexican.
were like from Mexico, and then apparently they were in the U.S. for a little bit, and then they were in Mexico again. So that's why. But anyway, 2 Hispanic
But
males.
that was separate from these 2 kids, right?
Yeah, no, this was separate from these 2 kids. They did like a false confession. Like, police were kind of following them for a little bit, like trying to figure out was it really them. It turned out it wasn't them. It was just a false confession. But they were like one of the more like notable ones because the police actually were like looking into it. The third one kind of goes with a theory in a way. His name was Kenneth McDuff, and honestly, he can have his own.
Kenneth McDuff?
McDuff, yeah.
McDuff.
No, he can have his own episode. Like, he was a serial killer. Like,
Here?
yeah, he was crazy. So I'm not gonna go again too deep into him, but he was in jail. He had a life sentence, but then the Supreme Court, they took abolish capital punishment. So from death, it turned into life with a possibility of parole. And then the jail was overcrowded, so he got out.
Oh, shit.
So that's how he got out. And then after that, he just went like on a crime/murder spree. Like, one of the murders he did that people were thinking about, because he picked up a prostitute, they got in an argument, and he bound and gagged her and killed her. So who else was bound and gagged, you know?
I guess the gagging's important because, like,
found it.
Killers don't really do that, right?
Yeah, a lot of times with killers they have like a
Just
signature. So she was bound and gagged. That's how she was found, and that's how these girls were found. So he was in jail again for like a completely different crime. And before his execution, they interviewed him. They're like, "Did you do this? Come on!" And he was like, he said, and I quote, "You know that was me because I'd be proud to have committed a crime like that." And then right before his execution, he was like, "Oh no, it was me," but again, can't really like prove that because he already said no, then he's saying yes all of a sudden. So then a couple years later, now we're in 1999.
I didn't know about this guy at all.
It was just kind of like a brief thing. That's why like there was no solid suspects besides the 4 boys. So in 1999, there's like, you know, a new leader on this case basically, and he keeps going back to Maurice and Forrest and how their story is, you know, he had the gun, and they were hanging out with these 4 guys. I don't know, but like the detective thought it was weird, so they interviewed them again. Maurice and Forrest were still pretty adamant, like, no, we did nothing, like, we don't know, we did not do this. This was already like 7-8 years later. So these guys are like full-on adults now. And then when they interviewed the other 2, Robert and Michael, which were those other 2 boys that they were with, they just would not leave them alone. Like, they were interviewed for hours and hours.
Like just pressuring them, right?
Just pressuring them, kind of feeding them information to where they eventually did admit to the crimes. But, you know, they, for example, with Michael, he was saying like he doesn't remember this was so long ago, like if, you know, he doesn't remember, but he knows he didn't do it. And so at one point the officer, one of them, he brought in a gun and to make him remember. He said he did it with his finger, but no one really truly knows, but something was pointed on the back of Michael's head to make him remember. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, that's kind of sus, dude.
Later in the interview, he does say, "I think I need a lawyer," which at that point, police are supposed to stop what they're doing and grab him a lawyer. Either he calls his lawyers or they get like a public defendant at that point, you know?
Right.
Cops didn't do that. They completely ignored him and continued to interview him for hours and hours and hours. And then eventually that's when he said that they cased the shop before and that he placed himself later in the shop, like with the gun in his hand, you know, all that stuff where it's just like...
Were they in jail all this time or no?
So right now they're getting interviewed, no, but they did go to jail for a while.
No, but from 1991 to 99, were they locked up?
No, they were, because, like, remember, when they first interviewed the first 2 boys, the gun didn't match.
Okay.
So they were completely free, you know. So then now when it goes to Robert, same thing with him. Questioning over and over again, trying to get him to admit to it. He keeps saying no, and in the interview, if you watch it, at one point he does say, and I quote, "If I did this, I would remember these kind of things, but I didn't do it." And the cops just they didn't care.
Who wouldn't remember killing 4 young girls?
Yeah, he was like, this was 7 years ago.
Right.
I would remember.
Yeah, of course.
And they were just like, no, you don't remember. And they kept just going over and over and over again to where he was kind of just like annoyed and defeated. At one point, the cops are like, "What did you do to rape her?" Or "How did you rape her?" Something like that, to where then Robert was just like, "Yeah, I fucking did it." Like, he was like, "I did this and this." And so cops were like, "Oh, there's our confession. There you go."
Leading him, right? Like, "Oh, you grabbed this." And,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, I remember I grabbed that."
Yeah, because they were like, "Okay, so you bound her, but with what?"
Right.
And then one of them was like, "A t-shirt, I guess." And
Like, no.
he's like, "But what else, though? Like, what else?" And,
Right.
you know, so they were like, even though, yes, they were saying things that only the killer would know, at the same time, they were like feeding them the information at the same time. And of course, that's also why their stories technically matched, because the same guys interviewed both of them.
Well, yeah.
And it turns out that that cop was later fired because he was caught doing that again in a different kind of trial, or a different kind of case. So now the trial, because the confessions, that was basically all they needed. Even though there was no physical evidence,
Right.
there was no evidence that they were even there. It was just these taped confessions. So also because of that, during the trial, the boys couldn't testify in each other's cases. they couldn't like confront the accuser, basically, which is a constitutional right. But they didn't do that. Instead, because they knew that the boys were just going to be like, it wasn't me, this was a lie, blah blah blah. So they used the tapes in each other's trials.
Okay.
So that's what people heard. They heard the tapes. So basically, they are sentenced. They are in jail. One of them gets to death. The other one gets life. And then, of course, while they're in jail, they are submitting appeals and all that stuff. And then finally, one of them, or both of their appeals, but like one of them, they get taken to the higher courts based on like how they weren't able to confront each other. Basically, higher courts agreed with them, so their cases were like basically overturned or tossed. But they were still in jail waiting to see if the prosecution would retrial them. And for them, they were like, oh, we know how to get these guys. Now we have, now this is in 2001. No, this is like in 2001 between 2006. I forgot to write down the dates, but they were like, we have DNA now. And there was DNA in Amy, who was sexually assaulted. So they're like, we got him. Let's test it, right? Didn't match either one of them. Didn't match the other boys. And they were not like, oh, guess it's not them. No, they said, you know what? There was a fifth guy.
There was a fifth guy. The imaginary guy.
The imaginary guy. All of a sudden, there's a fifth guy, but that didn't really play out too well. The boys were ended up being released. And to this day, like, they still are like, no, we didn't do it. Like, they still maintain their innocence. Because a lot of killers... Yeah, because a lot of killers, they would brag about it.
Of course.
And they haven't. Like, they're still very much like, we didn't do it. Back then, a couple eyewitnesses came forward saying that they saw two men sitting in a booth closest to the register, not any younger, not really chit-chatting, just there.
Scoping out those
just scoping out. And then if you look at the like evidence photos, that one booth is still completely undone. Because, the girls were cleaning up. So, like, the chairs are on top of the tables, the booths are all cleaned, napkins are refilled and everything like that, ready for the next day. Except for this one booth. The napkins are empty, one of the chairs are missing, and all this stuff. So it's just like, whoever was in that booth most likely did it, but they have no idea because, even the witness descriptions were two males, like, in their 20s or 30s. One of them was at least Hispanic. The other one had, like, blonde hair. Did not match the four boys at all. So that's why it's just like, whoever were in these booths most likely did it or knew who did it.
Right.
But no one knows who. So that's what I think did it. I think whoever were in these booths, they did it. That's my theory.
For sure. I completely agree. But
now we're going to get into the theories.
But there was something that was brought upon me.
Okay.
About I guess the one who masterminded that. And at the time, you know who Anton LaVey was?
Yeah.
He was a Satanist, the Church of Satan, right? That wrote the Satanic Bible.
He was like that leader or something, right?
He was a leader. His granddaughter, if I'm not mistaken, was living in Austin, Texas. And the reason I found out about this was because one of my coworkers told me about it. I didn't know anything about this Austin Overshot murders until he told me, and I'm like, what? He was like, yeah, it is pretty.
Oh, so you didn't even know about it?
I didn't know about it up until like maybe a year ago. And the thing about this, and you gotta understand that I'm here with the fucking conspiracy mind cat.
Yeah.
I'm over here looking at this from angles. I looked at podcasts, dude. No other podcasts, like all the podcasts are like, oh, police say this, but that's not. I'm not on that level, dude. I'm on this fucking flat earth thing, bro, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it all hit me when my coworker was like, dude, his granddaughter was living in Austin and she was a suspect on that.
Really?
She was a suspect. The reason she was a suspect was because she was, and man, I'm gonna give you some inside information.
Okay.
My friend
This is an exclusive.
This is exclusive, dude. Hey, listen, man, you're not gonna find this information on any podcast.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
I haven't heard it on anything.
Okay. So, this chick, turned out to be a suspect because she was having a garage sale.
Uh-huh.
And you can't look this information up because you want to find it.
Yeah.
My friend, he's old, right? So he was into this whole scene, this whole underground punk rockers, satanic shit, right? That's how he is now. I'm not like that at all. But I like punk rock. I like punk rock and all that. But I don't like it. Anyways, so she got the cops called on her because she was selling a coffin with what appeared to be human remains.
Okay.
So that's why she was a suspect.
Okay.
So the cops...
Like bones?
Yeah, bones. Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
If anybody wants to dig this up, dude, do it. But these are facts, bro. So some lady was like, yeah, this chick is selling a fucking coffin full of bones, dude. Like, I need to come check her out, right? And this was when this happened.
Yeah.
Turns out they were monkey bones.
Oh.
Right? So she became a suspect in that because, and this is what I believe in. This is just my personal opinion. I'm not saying nothing. This is just my opinion.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like, here's my notes. A lot of people were like, oh, it was a robbery, right?
Yeah, because they did steal money.
Because they stole money. They stole like $400, right? Something
yeah, like $400 or $500. Like the register was empty.
Right, no sale, right? The no sale was like at 10:57.
Yes, so the no sale was at 11:03. So it was 3 minutes after they closed. So that's why at first people were like, "Who the fuck was here 3 minutes later?" But then they saw that it was a no sale. So that's when they're thinking when, that's when everything happened because it was only like 3 minutes after.
Now, what I believe is this: I haven't robbed nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I have. I pay my dues though. But when you rob somebody, Kat.
Yeah.
When you rob somebody, dude, you cannot classify a robbery with a murder. It's two different things, dude. Like when you rob somebody, you're gonna rob for the money, and you're not gonna think about murdering anybody. It's just like, hey, break bread, right? Boom, gone.
Because I can understand when if you're robbing someone and let's say they get in there and you shoot them, like, oh shit, we gotta go. But these girls were like
executed.
They were executed. They were bound. They were like, there's no way this was a robbery turned murder.
No.
Like, there's no way.
Doesn't happen.
Yeah.
The only case it would happen is if like you're robbing a bank. Right?
Yeah.
Like in LA, you're robbing a bank for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Cops are there. You got 48 AKs. You're like, hey, fuck it, dude. We're going out. Like, geez, right? And that's how they went out. But for $400, dude, you're telling me they're gonna? I don't believe it. Now, the way that these girls were sacrificed, because that's what I think it was a sacrificial thing to these things, man. And this is my personal opinion again.
Yeah.
You got this girl, dude. That's her dad or granddad is a Satanist guy, right? We already know what they're, in hindsight.
Yeah.
Like, we already know what they're doing, right? They sacrifice people. They sacrifice children, right? They harvest adrenochrome. That's what I think happened, dude. I think she was here because before that and after till today, that has been the most gruesome murder that has ever happened here.
Yeah.
That has been it. And it's when she moved here.
Oh, so really? So she moved like right before?
Oh, no, I don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But
like when she got here.
When she was here, living here.
Yeah.
And then she left.
But why do you think.
She's not here anymore.
But why do you think them, though?
What do you mean?
Like, I guess, like, what do you think made them the target, I guess?
It was
like an opportunity?
Opportunity. I believe it was a sacrificial offering to Satan.
Okay.
I mean, they are Satanists.
No, yeah.
All openly.
I mean...
That's not a conspiracy.
No, like, that's who they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's what some people were thinking that... Like, some theories I read was that it was a murder for hire. That's why the window is so short. Because the no-sale happened at 11. 11:03, whatever. It happened at 11. This cop saw the fire, like, around midnight. So that's only an hour. So that's why people think like maybe this was a murder for hire. They weren't supposed to do all the girls, but then I mean, of course, it raises the question like, who the fuck would want to murder a 17 through 13-year-old then?
Right.
But at the same time, so people are thinking because the window is so short, it's just like who did this and with no evidence. Granted, yes, the police did do some shitty work, but it's not like like there was something obvious like the smoking gun in this case. Like to this day. This happened almost about 30 years ago now. Because in 91. And it is still unsolved. It is still open. And, like, this case has gone so cold and all that other stuff. Still, even now with today's technology, we found the Golden State Killer through, like, ancestry stuff. You know?
Really?
Yeah, so that's how they found the Golden State Killer. They found his DNA because a relative sent it, like, you know, sent in, like, an ancestry kit or something like that. So that's how they found it. So that's why, like, our technology has gotten so advanced. Like, so advanced. And they still can't find out who did this.
Right.
Like, there's no way. It has to be someone who was very comfortable killing, who knew what they were doing. So that's why it's like, I wouldn't rule out that, honestly.
And also...
Because she was a suspect at one point.
Right, she was a suspect.
So even if it wasn't her, like, let's say it wasn't her, right? It had to be someone.
Who was tied into all of that.
It has to be someone who's, like, a professional. Because, like, there's no way, like, an average Joe, like, you know, we wouldn't, but, like, you and I, like, this is not a way that you and I would do it. You know, to where 30 years later, still unsolved.
You want to go and kill somebody?
Not on film, but yeah. Okay. But that's what I mean. It's like, there's no way an average Joe, you know, did this. There's no fucking way.
No. Had to be perfect. And also, this is another conspiracy of mine. I don't know. I'm just looking at it with conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
The firefighters. I think, like, this girl, right, was from California. Her dad was Anton LaVey. I think that she had connections. Obviously, they have connections with police, right? There's corrupt policemen, there's corrupt firefighters.
Yeah.
The way these firefighters went in there, like, destroying evidence, like, that was weird, man.
Yeah.
That was weird because, like, if you're going into a burning building, like, wouldn't you logically think, like, the people that were in there will be outside? Like, why would you stay in there?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
But, like, they go to this building, it's burning, there's nobody there. Like, you have to assume, like, dude, this is weird.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, also, if it was closing time, though, they probably wouldn't think anybody was there, though.
But, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, but nobody called it in. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the officer did on patrol, but that was the officer.
Right, the officer called it in, but nobody was like...
But I'm thinking, like, if I saw, like, I don't know, because I'm thinking, like, if the mall was on fire, I don't think anyone would want to call, you know?
I would call.
How would you know the mall was on fire?
Oh, like if I'm over here?
Yeah, that's what I
like
mean.
When we used to work at Hollister?
No, but I mean, like, you know, if you, like, how would they know? How would someone know?
Dude, you
If it's
know.
already, no, but
You
like,
just know
if it's
weird.
past midnight and no businesses are open. That's what I mean. Or no businesses are supposed to be open.
Well, yeah, exactly. So there's no stoves there either.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you just have to have some kind of common sense. I don't know. I'm not a firefighter. Dude.
Yeah.
I'm just a mechanic. And even as mechanics, like, you have to have some kind of common sense because you're messing with people's vehicles, their brakes. You can fucking kill somebody, right? If you don't know what the fuck you're doing. But a firefighter, don't they go to college?
No.
They don't go to college?
I don't think so,
They don't
no.
go to college?
My uncle's a firefighter and I still don't know. But I'm also...
No offense to your uncle.
No, but I'm also, like, not that close to him, so...
Okay, well then, you know. This is what I think. I think that was a sacrificial thing that they planned it. I'm not sure if, like, APD was involved.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because, you know, the Fort Hood, like, that was a whole conspiracy with
Oh my
the
God.
whole military.
No, the whole thing was Fort Hood.
Right.
Honestly.
Right.
Like, quick side note, what the fuck?
Yeah. Oh shit, next week, dude.
Like,
we got it already.
like, seriously, like, what the fuck's going on with Fort
Yeah.
Hood? Because even after Vanessa, like, after her whole thing happened, there was another soldier found dead, like, not that long ago.
Because of her, the research.
No, like, this was already done and over with.
Oh,
This
shit.
They literally found this body maybe like 2 months ago, I want to say. So this is
Really?
after Vanessa. It's like this random soldier that was reported missing that they were just like, oh, look, this is where he's at.
He's there.
And then because of Vanessa, this other soldier, the military deemed him like he went AWOL, you know?
Oh yeah, it's this guy, right?
Yeah, no, this is like a separate guy though. This was before Vanessa. The one originally was the one I first mentioned is after her. But even with that guy, they said he went AWOL and turns out he was freaking
For like a
dead.
whole year, right?
I don't know. I would not put it past it. And even now to this day, there's a lot of things coming out about the Austin Police Department that are pretty shady. So back in the 90s, I want to say like what the 80s and 90s were like the highest corrupt time for like a lot of police departments.
So today,
I mean, of course, still today, but like back then though, like there's some that are very like notorious for being corrupt. B.I.G.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, I wouldn't put it past it.
Dude, right? It makes sense what I'm saying.
Even if, like, let's say they were completely innocent in the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were like, oh, shit, like, we gotta solve this, and then something happened in between. It's like, I wouldn't put it past it.
What do you mean?
Like, let's say, like, they go in this completely, like, unknowing, right? And then if they get too close, or someone is just like, hey, here's this, like, keep it on the down low.
Oh, okay.
Or like,
After
don't look at this. Look at these guys over here. These 4 innocent teenagers,
right.
basically.
You know who my granddaddy is? Fucking Anton LaVey, dude. You want me to fucking hex your family? And you know, firefighters like. No.
Even if they didn't believe it, they still had some money, and they had power.
Do they have money?
I know they had money for a while, but then Anton LaVey, he's his own kind of. He's not like a terrible person, but like he's a pretty stupid person with money, to where they lost it basically.
He's weird.
He was very weird.
Was weird.
Yeah, so even if they weren't like, oh, money, but Anton LaVey, like he had a lot of celebrity connections. He had a lot of powerful connections.
Right. So she must have had connections. That's what it was. It was a sacrificial ritual, I guess.
Yeah.
And dude, everything I've said makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Sense.
Like it's not far fetched. I mean, there has been a sacrificial, cases. So that's why it's like this isn't like the first one ever.
Nope. It was the first one in Austin, that's for damn sure.
And she was a suspect. I did see that. I only saw it in one article. No one ever talks about that. But she was a suspect at some point.
But I have insider information, dude.
And a lot of people thought, though, that a lot of members thought that they did that because in the cops, because of the nature of it, they thought, like, oh, it could have been some, like, underground shit. So a lot of members, at least from what I read, of course, but a lot of members were thinking, oh, they're trying to pin it on us because Austin doesn't want us here. Mm-hmm. So they're just trying to cover it up by using us as like the ones who did it.
Which is absurd because Austin itself, I mean the state is red, but Austin it's a little blueberry and a tomato sauce.
But in 91 though, it wasn't a huge city.
You're right.
It was not to where it is right now. So I'm pretty sure in 91, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a little bit more red. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was like smaller maybe and it was more conservative maybe. I don't know, but like
I don't think
it
so.
It was like a smaller city though back then. No, but it has always been kind of known as like the liberal city, right?
Yes, because of UT.
Yeah. But I don't know.
I don't think that was the case at all.
That was like their theory, like the members' theories on why all of a sudden they're looking at them. Because I think also too, like those 2 men were described to be wearing all black. So of course, if you were all black, immediately you're a devil worshiper.
Right. I mean, I like to wear black.
I have to. It's my work uniform.
You have to what?
We're all black.
Oh.
It's like my work uniform. Me and before
I thought you had to worship the devil.
Oh no.
You don't have to. What?
So that's what you think.
That's what I think, and that's what I'm sticking by. Yes, ma'am.
But has her insider? Does he have a theory at all?
He doesn't think. He didn't really give me an opinion because I guess I'm gonna talk to him tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to him tomorrow, but we just talked about it. He gave me all this insider information because people didn't find out about this.
Yeah.
Like people don't know about the coffin with the bones.
I didn't know that.
No, because he was part of the whole scene.
Because like on the thing where they talked about it, she was only a suspect because I think I wrote it down. I'm not too sure. Yeah, so she was accused of being a part of this satanic cult.
Which she was.
She was, but they were accused of it and she was doing like illegal things. It doesn't say why, it just says that there was a raid on her house. Oh, hoping to find proof of satanic sacrifices and grave robbing. That's why they went to her house.
Because they had the coffin.
Yeah, no, see, it doesn't say that. It just says that of that, and that she was even referred to as the high priestess, which turns out to be nothing more than a cringeworthy accusation. The bones were discovered. This is what it says, that it was discovered to be clay sculptures and animal bones.
Oh, okay. So
That it was basically a rumor that they were devil worshippers. It was all rumors and like silly things.
Okay, but anyways, who the fuck has monkey bones in their house?
I know.
House? Like, come on, dude.
And they're like, let's see, they were just that silly rumors perpetuated by the same overzealous folks that were perpetuated a lot by the satanic panic myths of the 80s and 90s, which is true. There was a lot of like new like devil worshipping cults that popped up during that era as well. So that's what they're like, even to this day, that's what they're chalking it up as. Like, it's just rumors. It's just funny little things.
Yeah, we don't go to the Frost Bang Tower and sacrifice children. That doesn't happen. Pizzagate? Remember in Washington D.C.? Oh no, we don't torture children here.
We don't
we
sell
just sell
them.
pizza.
We don't sell them.
Wayfair, you can look that up.
Oh my god, that was crazy.
Look that up.
That girl that exposed it was a freaking idiot though. Because
She died?
no, since she exposed it, you know, obviously Wayfair, they change everything. It's just like you need to like that kind of stuff. Like you notice it, you gotta like report it before it goes viral. Because it went viral, and then all of a sudden Wayfair like they don't do that stuff anymore.
Well, they came back.
And they supposedly were saying like, oh no, this is just stuff that we can't sell anymore or something like that. So we put it at a really high price so it won't get accidentally sold. Which I guess would make sense, but at the same time, why put it online if you guys are an online store? You can easily just like delete it.
Of course, yeah.
So that's why it's like...
And then the names, that freaked me out.
Yeah, because it was...
The actual names of human beings.
Yeah. And weren't some of them like were actual people that were reported missing?
Oh, dude, there's people missing all the time.
No, but like the names of the stuff.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. I went to the site because I didn't believe it. I thought it was just another fucking TikTok shit. And I went to Wayfair. Not to buy none of that shit. I can't even afford it. Not that I would want to. But...
Well, it's now.
Yeah. What? No.
No, I mean now with everything.
Oh.
Like that we know. It's like, yeah, well, at least now I wouldn't want to shop there anyway.
Right. But because I know the Versace sells like $3,000.
Yeah, but that's Versace.
Exactly, right? So that's why I'm like, nah, let me check this out.
Like, I'm not going to go to Target and get a $14,000 cabinet.
No. I'm going to go to Versace, though. I would like a Versace seat. Remember? Just chilling. Can you imagine me in a Versace? A robe?
Yeah.
No, like a chair, like a big-ass chair just with the Versace logo.
I guess.
So if you Versace wants to sponsor the show, hey, holla at your boy, dude.
You got that discount
I'll
code.
fucking tattoo the logo on me.
Oh my god.
I'll do it.
You would like all the other SoundCloud rappers, honestly.
Not my face.
Yeah.
Not my face. But, so I went to the website and it was real, dude. It was real. I'm like, holy shit, you can buy Hannah furniture for 10 grand? What the fuck is that?
Yeah. It's a little
What is
weird.
that?
That's why, like, I don't know.
So that's
Nothing.
not far-fetched?
That's like almost, in a way, nothing surprises me anymore. To that sense where it's like, I don't know. But that's the thing, though, too. It's like, it was such a high profile case. I mean, yeah, Austin was smaller, but Austin's always been the capital. And something like that still unsolved. Like, still no one knows. Still, it's so cold. Those two weird suspects never found anything about them. Even though there was 3 eyewitnesses reporting them after this whole thing happened.
Poor girls, man. Like,
Yeah.
it pisses me off, dude. It pisses me off.
Yeah, I know. So,
Fucking same as me.
even though this case was crazy, I do want to at least say their names because the girls are important. You know, they were...
Let's do it. Moment of silence.
They were important. So it's Sarah Harbison, Amy Anyers, Jennifer Harbison, and Eliza Thomas.
May they rest in peace.
Yes. And even though the ends of their life were not the best, we already know that,
No, that was
that
not the
they
best.
went to a best place in the afterlife.
For sure. All right. So we'll leave it at that, or what?
We'll leave it at that. Definitely like leave your guys' theories or comments, you know, or if you're even from Austin and
Yeah.
you
especially-
heard something, or
especially-
like if you grew up not even knowing about this case until you were like an adult, because he's from Austin.
Right.
Like, Alejandro is from Austin, and he didn't hear about this, like he said, until a year ago.
So, yeah.
I'm not from Austin. I have lived here for a few years, and I didn't find this out until I went looking, and I started getting really interested into podcasts, for example. That's when I heard about this. But I've lived in Texas for like 10 plus years now, and I didn't find out about this until recently either. So I'm really curious too. Like, was this kind of like not a ghost tale, but like a cautionary tale growing up type thing? Like, don't answer the door for strangers because this happened type thing. I'm really curious too.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if we can find people that are still alive that.
I mean, their
work the
parents.
case. No, they were alive. I mean, it's in 91.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
I was 1 year old. I'm pretty sure there's shit.
I doubt they're gonna want to talk to this like two people, but we can drive by at the place.
I'm gonna try to. And don't forget to check out the merch, dude. Right?
Yes.
Check the merch out. The other channel too. Oh, it was the same channel.
The other podcast, the other show.
The other podcast.
Yes. All the links are going to be down below. Our personal Instagrams, also the show's Instagram, also in the bios. I have it in mind, the links to our YouTube page, which I know you guys are already on, the merch, all that other fun stuff too. So yeah, definitely leave a comment what you guys thought, if you have anything that you want to hear, and then we'll see y'all next time.